Most catastrophic bridge collapse. Bridge collapses are some of the most catastrophic and tragic engineering disasters that can occur. The structural failure of a bridge can lead to significant loss of life, property damage, and disruptions to transportation networks. In this video, we will examine 10 of the most devastating bridge collapses in history, each with its own unique set of circumstances and consequences. 1. The Tacoma Narrows Bridge Disaster. On November 7, 1940, the Tacoma Narrows Bridge, infamously known as Galloping Gertie, met its demise in a spectacular fashion. This catastrophe became a pivotal moment in engineering history, primarily attributed to aeroelastic flutter. This phenomenon occurs when winds passing through the bridge's structure induce oscillations that escalate uncontrollably. Despite the bridge's design to be aerodynamic, it was not equipped to handle the dynamic stress caused by the wind. On that fateful day, with winds reaching speeds of around 40 miles per hour, the bridge began to undulate violently. This movement eventually led to its collapse, sending the roadway plummeting into the waters of the Tacoma Narrows. Remarkably, there was only one casualty, a dog trapped in a car stranded on the bridge. 2. The Genoa Bridge Collapse. On August 14, 2018, the Morandi Bridge in Genoa, Italy, suffered a catastrophic failure, sending cars and debris crashing to the ground below. This tragic event resulted in 43 fatalities, numerous injuries, and the displacement of hundreds of residents. Investigation into the collapse pointed to a lethal combination of factors: aging infrastructure, corrosion of concrete and steel reinforcement, and years of neglected maintenance. The design of the bridge, which relied on pre-stressed concrete stays and reinforcements, was scrutinized for its vulnerability to degradation over time. In the aftermath, this disaster has become a stark reminder of the critical need for ongoing inspection and maintenance of aging infrastructure to prevent such tragedies. It also sparked a nationwide audit of Italian bridges and viaducts, aiming to ensure their safety and structural integrity. 3. The Silver Bridge Tragedy. On December 15, 1967, the Silver Bridge, connecting Point Pleasant, West Virginia, and Gallipolis, Ohio, met a grim fate when it suddenly collapsed during rush hour traffic. The bridge, which had been in service since 1928, fell into the Ohio River below, taking with it 46 lives and leaving the communities on both sides in shock. The tragedy was traced back to a tiny defect in a single eye-bar in the suspension structure, a critical component that was not adequately inspected or maintained. This flaw led to a chain reaction, resulting in the bridge's complete failure. The Silver Bridge disaster highlighted the overlooked dangers of material fatigue and corrosion, underscoring the urgent need for regular and thorough inspections of aging infrastructure. It served as a harsh lesson in the potentially fatal consequences of neglecting bridge maintenance and spurred significant changes in how bridges across the United States are inspected and maintained. 4. The Quebec Bridge Collapse. The Quebec Bridge, intended to be a marvel of early 20th century engineering, instead became a case study in the catastrophic consequences of miscalculations and oversight failures. The first collapse in 1907 was a devastating blow, resulting in the loss of 75 workers' lives due to inadequate attention to the load-bearing capabilities of the structure. Engineers and constructors had underestimated the weight the bridge would need to support. This tragedy was compounded by a second collapse in 1916 during the bridge's reconstruction, claiming an additional 13 lives. Miscommunication and the persistence of earlier design flaws contributed to this second failure. These events shook the engineering community, leading to more stringent standards in bridge design and construction oversight. 5. The Sunshine Skyway Bridge Collapse. On May 9, 1980, a harrowing incident occurred on the Sunshine Skyway Bridge over Tampa Bay, Florida, when the freighter MV Summit Venture collided with a pier during a sudden squall, causing a 1,200-foot section of the bridge to give way. This tragic event resulted in the deaths of 35 individuals as cars and a bus plummeted into the water below. The disaster brought to light the vulnerabilities of bridge structures to maritime accidents, prompting a reevaluation of safety measures and navigational protocols in areas prone to extreme weather. This collapse not only highlighted the critical need for robust design and maintenance, but also led to the construction of a new bridge designed with enhanced safety features to prevent such tragedies from occurring in the future. 6. The Minneapolis I-35 Duyu Bridge Collapse. On August 1, 2007, an 8-lane bridge along the I-35W in Minneapolis unexpectedly fell during the evening rush hour, bringing with it cars, trucks, and construction equipment into the Mississippi River below. The disaster led to 13 deaths and left over 145 individuals injured. Initial investigations pointed towards a catastrophic failure of the bridge's gusset plates, which were not designed to bear the bridge's weight, especially with the additional load of construction materials and equipment. This calamity underscored the grave consequences of overlooking critical design elements and the necessity for regular, comprehensive inspections, especially on older infrastructure bearing heavy loads. The event stirred nationwide concern over the condition of the United States' aging infrastructure, instigating debates and calls for significant improvements in public safety standards and inspection protocols for bridges across the country. 7. The Hintz-Ribeiro Bridge Disaster. On the stormy night of March 4, 2001, the Hintz-Ribeiro Bridge, a century-old structure connecting the towns of Entre Rios and Castelo de Paiva in Portugal, tragically collapsed. This horrifying incident resulted in the death of 59 people as a bus and several cars were swept into the raging waters of the Douro River below. Subsequent investigations attributed the collapse to severe structural degradation exacerbated by decades of neglect. The bridge's foundations had been significantly eroded over time, a situation worsened by heavy rainfall and strong currents leading up to the disaster. The catastrophe underscored the perilous consequences of failing to maintain and regularly inspect aging infrastructure. It sparked widespread public outrage and led to a reevaluation of bridge safety protocols in Portugal, aiming to prevent such avoidable tragedies in the future. 8. The Poltavera Viaduct Collapse. The Poltavera Viaduct, more commonly known as the Morandi Bridge, experienced a devastating collapse on August 14, 2018, that shocked the world. The incident took a heavy toll, claiming 43 lives and causing extensive damage to the surrounding area. Investigations into the disaster revealed that the collapse was precipitated by a combination of deteriorating concrete and corrosion of the steel cables within the bridge's structure. These issues were exacerbated by a lack of thorough maintenance over the years. The bridge, designed by Riccardo Morandi and completed in the 1960s, was found to have had vulnerabilities in its design that were not adequately addressed. 9. The Mianus River Bridge Collapse. In the early hours of June 28, 1983, the Mianus River Bridge on Interstate 95 near Greenwich, Connecticut, experienced a catastrophic failure that took the lives of 3 individuals and injured 3 others. This disaster unfolded when a 100-foot section of the bridge suddenly gave way, plunging vehicles into the gap created by the collapse. Investigation into this tragic event pinpointed the cause to a critical fatigue crack in one of the bridge's support pins. This flaw had gone undetected during routine inspections, underscoring a dire need for more comprehensive and technologically advanced monitoring techniques for bridge components susceptible to stress and wear. The incident served as a grim reminder of the potential consequences of overlooking structural vulnerabilities and reinforced the importance of vigilant, detail-oriented inspections to ensure the safety and integrity of vital transportation infrastructure. 10. The Cypress Street Viaduct Collapse. On October 17, 1989, the Cypress Street Viaduct faced a catastrophic end when a 6.9 magnitude earthquake struck the San Francisco Bay Area. This segment of the Interstate 880 freeway was rendered a mangled heap of concrete and steel, tragically claiming the lives of 42 people. The disaster revealed significant oversights in the original engineering and construction of the viaduct, most notably its inability to withstand seismic forces. Built on soft soil and utilizing an outdated double-decker design, the structure's collapse prompted a critical reassessment of earthquake preparedness and infrastructure resilience across California and beyond. It led to widespread improvements in seismic engineering standards, ensuring future structures could better absorb and survive the forces unleashed by such natural disasters.